Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
Hey, all you citizens of the world. Welcome back to Live from the Heartland for the week of November 7th. And it always brings me pleasure when I get to have Don Rose come on the show every month. He's kind of turned into our political analyst. He's a perceptive guy. He's been around a long time, seen a lot of things, and I appreciate what he shares. So good day to you, Don. And last night was a hell of a night for the Democrats, for those who were following it, and I think there were a lot. What do you got to say?
Well, of course, they won everything there was to win, and some things that were doubtful. They even won a little odd race in Georgia, which doesn't mean too much for most of us, but it was evidence of the Democrats outperforming everywhere. It was no surprise, of course, that Spanberger won in Virginia, but she won with a much bigger margin than expected. I think she had 57% of the vote, and she carried in a difficult race to overturn the Attorney General. So that was very good. The thing I was watching most was the New Jersey race, which was expected to be close. Some poll had the Democrat ahead by only 3 points. And as it turns out, Mikey Sherrill wound up with 56%, way, way, way outperforming. And the reason I find looking at my own analysis of that race, first of all, the whole evening, and of course, we can mention as expected the bid to redraw new lines, new congressional districts in California won overwhelmingly at 66%, roughly saying yes, which was, I think, bigger than a lot of people expected. At one point, they were worried about it. Now, in any event, the first lesson I drew from this that people haven't particularly remarked on yet is that this is evidence that the public at large, all of us, are not blaming the Democrats very much for the shutdown. They continue to blame the Republicans because we can look at this as a part of a larger anti-Trump viewpoint. And in New Jersey particularly, where there was concern, we've had concerns, I don't know if I expressed it last time we talked, but a great deal of concern about the Democrats losing a lot of numbers in the Hispanic community, and also to some extent in the Black community. Well, when you look at what happened in New Jersey, both the Hispanic wards, Hispanic areas, and the Black areas came out overwhelmingly for the Democrats. Now, that tells me that although we had been losing Hispanic voters, the performance and the things that ICE is pulling and the border guards are pulling in the arrests of Latinos have turned that around. So that's, I think, a very, very good sign. We didn't just eke out a victory, but I think it's a directional change and very, very good news potentially for the midterm elections. So I think the Democrats may have had two of their problems solved here. It's largely in reaction to Trump, whose numbers keep going down. So if goal number one is to win the midterms, this suggests a good win in the midterms, even if the Republicans are able to add a few more congressional districts with their lousy remapping, forcing us to remap and so on and so forth. I don't like these remap battles, and I wish someday we would have a Supreme Court that outlaws political gerrymandering and sets some standards for everybody. But that to one side, that doesn't seem to be in the cards. Quite the opposite, possibly. Nevertheless, I think to my original point, it enhances our prospects of taking over the House, and maybe by a goodly number, 10, 12, possibly even 20 seats at this point.
Well, that would certainly be great, and the thing on the House races and the redistricting, as you mentioned, California had a big turnout. And what I was impressed with on all of it was just the consciousness, the high level of awareness that people have about what's going on. I mean, they interviewed people in line in California, and they basically said, we just know what we got to do. I mean, I would hope that at some point there's a system which all across the country, how districts are set up in a fair way, to be honest. But given the chicanery and evil thoughts of the one side, I don't mind us making moves. And I know in Missouri, which was quick to jump on the bandwagon with Trump in redistricting, there is a challenge from, whether the people get to vote on that or not. So that's still an open question. And I don't know, if Virginia ends up changing some districts, if Illinois does, New York does, how it balances out with the Republicans. But it does look better for the Democrats, certainly to take the House with some numbers and maybe even the Senate. Let me ask you this.
I do think the Senate is clearly in play now, which we couldn't have said 3 months ago.
And where are those states? You talking Maine? You're talking Iowa, maybe? What do you got?
Ohio, Nebraska. There's. I would say at least 6 possibilities. I would think Ohio is possible. Sherrod Brown running again, and he's always done well in Ohio. He did exceedingly well, even though Trump was on the ballot. So, and I think Maine, if they settle out the dispute that's going on, Maine has become a very likely turnover. But I can't call the Senate yet, but I can say it's seriously in play.
One of the things I saw in looking through every paper I could look at today was really off the Mamdani. Got the M before the N. In that race, there's a lot of people, certainly he was really impressive. And the speech he gave was dynamic. It was inspirational and wonderful. So the headlines in the Washington Post today go centrist or progressive. Democrats face battle over who defines the party. And I did see a thing last night where they talked a lot about, that Democrats are going to be different in different places, and they have to learn to live with that. What are your thoughts on the direction of the party and how they position themselves for the next election?
Well, I'm beginning to agree with the thought that we have to be different in different places. We've got look at the two governor's races. That was one in Virginia and New Jersey, and those were both by moderate Democrats, and they won huge. They as I say, they were both over 55%. 55% is considered a landslide. Now, did they get a challenge from a more progressive side? No. Are we able? I think in Illinois here we find that our governor turns out to be far more progressive than any of us thought in the first place.
That's for sure.
I didn't vote for him in the primary. I certainly voted for him in the general election. And although, I think he's become a serious presidential contender. He's improved both the content and the style of his campaigning. He once ran a miserable campaign for Congress. And I said once he had the charisma of a toenail, but he is now becoming a significant figure. I don't know if I tend to doubt that he is going to become the nominee, but he must be considered seriously. And then we're going to have Rahm Emanuel, another Jewish candidate, running to his right. From the same state. So
what
it's.
Do you think he's going to run for, Emmanuel? You think he's going to try to go for the Senate seat?
No, I think he's going to go for president. He can't go for Senate anymore. It's closed off now. The filing is closed off.
Who are some of the presidential possibilities on the Democratic side? You mentioned our governor here, Pritzker. We certainly have California governor. There's Andy Beshear in Kentucky was lurking around a while back. Anyone else?
The governor of Pennsylvania, a long-time aspirant, and Chris Murphy. And I think right now, I would think Murphy is would be the leading competitor. We haven't seen numbers, and they'd be kind of meaningless at this point to do any polling. But I look in that. It's interesting. We're going to have 4 or 5 Jewish candidates running all at the same time. Of different, from conservative to, I should say moderate, not conservative, from moderate to very progressive. But I also think that this is one of those things where we might, in another year, see a totally different candidate, somebody we're not even thinking of. I think Beshear, by the way, looks better and better. And of course, he's the fact that he can win in a very, very red state, all the others are from blue states, is an added advantage. It was the kind of advantage that Sherrod Brown might have had he run for president. So I think that's a very open-ended thing, and I'm not. We're going to see a dozen different names come and go over the next year, and partly it's going to depend, I think, on what happens at the midterms. Who becomes encouraged? How significant we do? As I say, I think we'll take the House easily, and maybe the Senate. So. I can't make any predictions there. The names are going to come and go, and who knows who the next guy is? Mark Kelly might even think about it. He's getting a lot of attention, and
And Harris talks about maybe running again. which-
I think that'll be a mistake.
Yeah, it would be.
But and what's his name? Cory Booker is always considered a potential. We could probably name 15 people right now who are seriously considered potential candidates. And as I say, my bet right now is on the guy or woman who comes up out of nowhere in a year and a half. You
Well,
know,
that'll be interesting. And let's hope it's not like some actor like The Rock.
all
And
right.
let me ask you, let's shift a little bit to the kind of age divisions here. We've got Nancy Pelosi is not going to run. Our good friend Chuy Garcia is not going to run. And I'm just wondering where, there's just a lot of talk around, Mamdani being too young to really, be the guy. But what's your thought on age and the sort of shift that's starting to take place in the party around that issue?
Well, the candidate who pops up out of nowhere might be a younger person. I doubt that it's going to be Mamdani.
No, I meant for just in general in the party.
Yeah.
On
There are younger people coming up. We'll see. We'll get our answer at the midterms to all the speculation when we see who fills all the seats. Look, we're going to have, apart from a Senate seat, which is one particular issue, we're going to have, what, 5 or 6 congressional seats, right? Or is it 7 congressional seats right here in Illinois? And we'll see what kind of candidates win. One place to look, for example, is in the 9th district, where Jan Schakowsky has announced she's not running again. One of the most progressive people in the Congress, who was aging, nowhere near as old as me, but she was at her end. But even before she announced she was not running, somebody parachuted in, a woman who is apparently a, quote, an influencer, named Kat Absukar, I can't pronounce her last name, who is one of 8 candidates or more.
I think it's 18 now.
Yeah, running for that office. Now, we will see how she does. I don't think she'll win. My hunch is that Daniel Biss, the mayor of Evanston and a longtime political figure in the community, is going to be the winner here, and
He's our guest next week on the show.
Good. I would say he's the favorite to win, but we'll see how well this cat does. Personally, I think you have to respect the idea that your congressperson should be somebody from the area, and she just parachuted in. She's apparently a good person, and everything I've heard.
Yeah, I met her. She's nice and she's sharp, and she's been out there in Broadview, but most of the candidates have been out there at the ICE detention center. And there are other people. There's Mike Simmons, I think, who's our state senator up here.
Mm-hmm.
He's in, and there's an FBI hostage negotiator in. There's just a lot of people jumping into this race. And I even saw that the Han, I think his name is, the state rep from Uptown, he's in too. I keep getting all these fundraising notes from different people.
Right. Well, it's there. And then there's another tradition there that's long been considered a Jewish seat. Now, I don't know, it's not, the district is far from overwhelmingly Jewish, but there's always been that, which I think also helps Biss a lot. And so the results of this and who wins all these other seats is going to tell us a lot about the direction, because Illinois is one of those definitive states. What happens here, in right in the middle of America, a blue state in the middle of America, what happens here tells us a lot about the direction of the country.
Let's shift a little bit, and let me ask you about, do you see any division in the Republican or the GOP ranks? Any kind of, we've been waiting for some Republicans to kind of open up a little bit and help end the shutdown. Not so much luck so far. I'm wondering where you see the Republican Party right now.
Well, right now, the only actual rebellion against Trump is the fact that they will not drop the filibuster. They're standing, the Senate, that's the first time the Senate has stood up against Trump that I know of, and how long that lasts or how deep that division is, we can only see as we head toward possibly ending the shutdown. So, and then we've got a little breakup here and there with some of the most extreme people. We've got a little breakup on the issue of anti-Semitism going on. Who's giving who a platform on genuine anti-Semitism? So I see what I could only consider minor cracks at this point. But as they look along and look at today's, last night's results, they might begin to start blaming Trump. The one can say, are people going to want to be viewed supporting and with a big Trump endorsement next time out? So the worse his numbers get and the more signs we get, we'll see the cracks. Right now, I think he still holds sway on that party, with the cracks just in minor evidence at the moment.
Well, let's not talk too much more about the Republicans. But I'm wondering if you think that, where do you think the ICE thing is going? They've got lots of money. They do a lot of extra legal stuff. And they're pretty cruel and vicious these days. And I'm just wondering if how long you think that's going to go on, if there's any hope for them backing off with that.
Well, I don't think they're going to back off on their own accord. I think our only salvation here is with the Supreme Court. These cases are eventually going to get up to the Supreme Court, and they're going to make some determinations, on what constitutes brutality, which is rife with what's going on, and it's intentional. They're trying to cause terror, and they're succeeding. And I think our only salvation here is the Supreme Court, because they're finding all sorts of reasons to stay. They got these goofy idea. The border guards should not be in a state like Illinois because they're too far from either border. They're supposed to exist within X number of miles of a border. And they're not here in Illinois, but they have made some cockamamie determination that the shores of Lake Michigan lead up to the border, so they're so they can put them in. These are the kinds of determinations. All the courts thus far, the federal courts, the state courts, and so on, have ruled against them, and it is ultimately going to be up to the Supreme Court. And when it comes to that kind of support, it's at best 50-50 with the Supreme Court. We're going to, once again, our democracy is in the hands of two people, Roberts and Coney Barrett.
Well, we'll see, Don, and we'll have you back in not too distant future. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.